Hello everyone, today we're flying over Whatley Quarry near Frome in Somerset, England. This quarry began production around 1939 under the name New Frome Quarry. It's now owned by Heidelberg Materials UK. It primarily extracts Carboniferous limestone, specifically black rock limestone, which ranges from pale grey to dark grey. The site spans approximately 173 hectares, with about 120 hectares, that's 168 FIFA football pitches, dedicated to limestone extraction. The workings reach a depth of about 150 metres or 500 feet from the original ground surface. The quarry's limestone reserves stand at nearly 115 million tonnes, and annual aggregate production reaches 6 million tonnes. Let's first look at the main processing area. There is a lot of industrial scale processing machinery here, large loaders and complex conveyor and material handling equipment. It's mainly yellow, a common choice for industrial machinery because it enhances visibility for safety, distinguishes moving parts, and aligns with safety industrial equipment colour schemes. The dark grey and blackish mounds are crushed limestone fines, often referred to simply as quarry dust or aggregate fines. These are tiny fragments produced when limestone is crushed and screened during the quarrying process. Limestone dust is a common byproduct, and such piles are typically used in construction for surfaces, fill, or as part of asphalt mixes. On the right you can see a dedicated freight rail link connecting the quarry to the National Rail network via the former Bristol and North Somerset Railway, now operated by Mendip Rail. This facilitates efficient stone transport to depots in London, South East England, and to projects like Hinkley Point C, a nuclear power plant that is being built in Somerset. There are numerous types of large vehicles at work in the quarry: bulldozers, dumper trucks, and excavators. One type of truck used at Watley is the CAT 777G rigid dump truck, which can carry about 100 tonnes of rock per load. It's purpose-built for quarries and mines and is too big and heavy for public roads. You can often see them driving up the tracks from the quarry floor. The big mounds of material on the floor are a normal part of how a large quarry is run. They're called stockpiles or surge piles, and there are a few reasons they're arranged like that. The first one is temporary storage. After blasting and excavation, not all stone goes straight into the crusher or onto trains. The mounds let the quarry store material until it's ready to be processed or transported. Also, different parts of the quarry yield different types and sizes of limestone, so the material is stockpiled separately, for example fine dust, road stone, aggregate for concrete, or rock awaiting crushing. Keeping them in distinct mounds helps prevent contamination between grades. So the mounds are stockpiles. They keep the quarry floor organised, separate different materials, and make loading and processing more efficient. Did you notice the beautiful green lakes? The quarry floor lies below the natural water table, so vast amounts of groundwater, up to 25 million litres per day in winter, are pumped out. That water is first directed into settling ponds or lagoons inside the quarry. These act like lakes, allowing fine particles, silt, dust, limestone slurry, to settle before the water is either reused in the processing plant or discharged into local streams such as the Whatley Brook and River Mells. The lakes you see today are mostly industrial water management lagoons, but in the future they'll likely evolve into permanent water bodies for ecology and recreation as part of the quarry's aftercare plan. The lakes and lagoons at Whatley Quarry often appear a striking green or turquoise, and that's down to a few natural and chemical factors. When water fills the quarry voids or lagoons, it dissolves fine particles of limestone dust and suspended calcium carbonate. These particles scatter sunlight in a way that gives the water a milky turquoise or bright green hue, similar to what you see in alpine lakes or tropical limestone lagoons. And in slower moving ponds, algal blooms can develop in summer, especially where there are nutrients in the water. This can shift the water colour from turquoise towards deeper green tones. So the green isn't from pollution, it's mostly a natural effect of limestone-rich water scattering light, with a seasonal boost from algae. And have you noticed the steps you see in Whatley Quarry, which look a bit like rice paddy fields? They're called benches. In open pit and quarry mining, the rock face is cut in a series of horizontal steps rather than as one sheer cliff. Each step is known as a bench, usually several metres high and wide. Benches stop loose rock from falling all the way to the quarry floor, reducing the risk to workers and machinery. And the step design helps prevent landslides or collapses in the quarry walls. The red seams you notice in the terraces at Whatley Quarry are layers of material that contrast with the dominant grey limestone. They usually come from weathered zones, mineralised bands, or overlying deposits. They look red because of iron oxides in the rock. When exposed to air and water, these oxidize, rust, giving the rock a reddish-brown colour. Also, ancient fissures, joints or solution cavities in the limestone were sometimes filled with reddish clay. When cut through during quarrying, these appear as distinct red streaks or seams against the grey quarry benches. This is an excavator, a key piece of heavy machinery used to move rock and overburden. Overburden is rock or soil overlying a mineral deposit. It's a large tracked machine with a long boom and hydraulic arm ending in a bucket. The operator sits in a rotating cab that can swing 360 degrees, allowing them to dig, scoop, lift and load material. Whatley has hydraulic excavators, large mining excavators with buckets big enough to fill a quarry truck in a few scoops, and smaller utility excavators used around the processing plant or lagoons for maintenance work. The forest or woodland you see around the edge of Whatley Quarry is both natural and deliberately maintained. Quarrying creates deep voids, tall benches and noise from blasting and trucks. So planting and maintaining woodland around the edges helps screen the quarry from nearby villages like Watley and Mells, softening the visual impact. Also, trees and shrubs act as a natural buffer, reducing how far quarry dust travels and dampening the sound of the blasting, crushers and heavy vehicles. In addition, quarries like Watley are required by planning conditions to protect and enhance biodiversity. Now please enjoy some views of the quarry. Well, that's about it for today's flight. I'll leave you with a picture of some summer clouds. See you next time.